buttons, right?
Good luck, man.
Let's go 6 for 6.
And it looks like Dominic Couch is going to start things off.
Stand by me.
So let's talk about the matchup. We haven't really got into their decks. We have a cool one here. So it's a Shiju tier elements, but you know, with some text. Obviously, you're going to have your own text to try and take an edge in the tournament. Up against Robin's Bestial Dragon. I wouldn't call it a Dragon Link deck more so. I'd just say like it's like a Thunder Dragon, Bestial. I guess Dragon Link is okay. There's more branded stuff in here as well. It's everything kind of in the kitchen sink kind of deck, but still not a 60 card kitchen sink, keeping it around the 40 card era. But looks like Couch does start with Primeval Planet Paralino, add Sharon. Sharon is going to discard Kelbeck to special summon. Then you're going to mill the top 3. He sends Gravekeeper's Trap, Keldo, and another copy of Kelbeck. And now Couch is going to trigger that Kelbeck to send the top 5 cards from both players' graveyard or decks to the graveyard.
Sure. So 5 first.
Yep, here comes the casino, baby.
All right, so we see Chaos Space and 2 copies of Bestial Rebellion from Robin, so definitely getting some value out of it for his following turn. And Couch is going to mill the Crystal Beast Emerald Turtle, so that kind of leads us to believe he's playing Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, along with Keldo, Merrily, Havness, and I didn't see what the 5th one was.
Yeah, I didn't catch that myself.
So he's going to use Merrily's effect here to Fusion Summon. Summon Kictalos.
We'll use the Rhino Hearts effect. It looks like that was sent to the graveyard as well, so who's going to special summon it? I believe that's a Sulliek he's just sent to his graveyard.
Yeah,
so
that's one of my favorite things to discard.
Yep, so that'll entitle him to 1 search for a tier limit monster.
Yeah, it always feels good to discard that Sulliek with the Rhino Heart because you're getting the Rhino Heart so you get a body on the field. The Sulliek's going to add a tier element monster from your deck to the hand, and the Rhino Heart's going to send a tier element from your deck to the graveyard. So you're adding a monster, sending a monster that's going to let you Fusion Summon. Just pretty much can do everything. And it looks like he's going to shuffle back his Sulliek with, looks like Keldo. So he's going to be able to search it. This is something that's really cool. You can do this deck. You always, if you mill your traps, you can just put them right back so you can still add them on later on.
Yeah, that is cool. And he also got rid of 1 Rebellion and the Chaos Space, which are 2 relevant effects.
Oh yeah,
in the graveyard.
Super relevant. Now just leaving Robin on just that Bestial Rebellion. If Couch can find a way to like a Medora or something to get in the graveyard, he'll be able to shuffle that back as well.
Yeah.
Showing you sometimes it's not even that big of a deal to mill the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck. You're just going to put them right back.
Yeah, I think Dominic was trying to use Sheeran's effect there, and he's going to lose out to a Bestial monster. I believe it's Magnum Hut right there.
Yep, indeed. So Magnum's going to come down. We'll see if Robin, I'm sure he's going to trigger the effect of Magnum to be able to add a dragon during his end phase.
That's a safe bet.
Got to make sure you declare it. We saw Elise earlier not declare it and missed out on adding a Bestial. Could have helped the game potentially, but something to learn from for sure going on throughout the tournament.
That's rough.
It was rough. So Couch taking a moment to consider his next option. Looks like he's going to use the Kick Talos effect to send itself to the graveyard by its own card effect to special summon back Havness.
Kick Kalos' effect will then activate to send 5 cards from the top of his deck to his graveyard. He's using Diviner of Herald.
Yeah, Diviner's really cool in this deck. He also looked like he milled a Medora maybe there, so he's going to have more options to shuffle back. But yeah, Diviner, so you can mill Diviner in this deck. You can go into Sprite Elf, bring back the Diviner, and then you can send a Herald of Orange Light for the Diviner, making it level 4. And then if you use one of your tier limit effects to make a Garura, you get to go into Baron de Fleur from a Sprite Elf just because you milled that Diviner, and you get a draw.
Yeah, Jerome was talking about that combo earlier, but we haven't actually seen it happen yet.
Hopefully we do here. So it looks like Couch is going to use Medora.
Yes.
Cleaning Robin out of his graveyard.
He'll recycle his own Sharon and Kelbeck and get rid of that Lubellion, which is the last relevant card in Robin's graveyard.
And since Dominic was able to shuffle back the cards into the deck, the tier element card is going to trigger his Primeval Planet Paralino to destroy the Magnum.
That's such a great synergy right there, being able to use the new Ishizu cards with Perlerino to just destroy cards as quick effects.
It's really cool. It's kind of like your field spell becomes Zodiac Trident almost, right?
Oh man, Trident's so powerful.
It looks like a Lynx. So this is all turn one. This is Dark is summon turn one to summon a dark monster from his opponent's graveyard. I love the way it is. Like, even though it's turn one, it's like multiple things are happening to where it's like the game is going beyond. You can't even classify it by the turn count. It's more so the interactions that have happened in the game so far.
So he'll use the Bestial he stole in the dark to summon the elf. He did Xyz summon Abyss Dweller as well, which is a strong card in this matchup. And I think we are about to see that combo. So he's using the elf to bring back Diviner of the Herald.
Yeah, he's gonna need a. He's just gonna use Diviner here to send a Yugioh. So since he can send any fairy, he can send a Yugioh and then mill 5 from both players' decks. But it does. So now it makes the Diviner a level 6.
So he needs a level 4 to tune with it.
True. Yeah. So he could fuse for Mud Dragon and still do the same kind of combo, but doesn't get the draw. Wow. Mills exchanges Spirit, 2 copies of Rainbow Bridge Salvation, and the Crystal Beast, Emerald Turtle.
Yeah, it's definitely not what he wanted there.
Oh, since he milled the Exchange of Spirit, though, he does get to mill 5 additional cards.
And there's a Havness. Has he used Havness's effect this turn?
That's correct.
I think so. It was one of the first ones to touch down to his graveyard, so I'm pretty sure he did. But okay, so since he has made his opponent send the cards from the top of his deck to the graveyard, he's able to trigger this Yugioh from his hand. And Yugioh says if a card is sent from your opponent's hand or deck to the graveyard, special summon it, and then special summon back a level 4 Earth Fairy.
Oh, so now he has everything he needs to make Baron de Fleur.
He's going to have Baron plus another rank 4 if he wants it. Or, yeah, the options are really endless. We're going to see what he's been doing here. I mean, 7-0 doesn't just happen by accident.
No, Dominic Couch knows exactly what he's doing every step of the way in his duels.
Goes for the Kaleido Heart turn 1, so you can have it face up so it'll be able to use its effect. Because its effect to shuffle back triggers any time an Aqua monster is sent to the graveyard. There is that Baron de Fleur we were talking about. And it's being, you see the placement, very meticulous and purposeful. The Sprite Elf is pointing at Abyss Dweller and Baron, so you won't be able to stop those with stuff like Infinite Permanence.
Protecting arguably his 2 most important monsters on the field right now.
Okay, so Couch is going to activate Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, chain Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, and then chain Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. Only one of these is going to be able to resolve, actually, but it's still a funny situation.
Yeah, it's a once per duel effect, but I guess you can still activate all of them.
You can only the first one will resolve, and then the other one just kind of...
They're just banished.
Yeah.
What's the strategic benefit to doing that? Does he just want them gone so that they can't get shuffled back into his deck?
I think that might be it, yeah. Just protect them. Don't let them go back into the deck. Yeah, they're gone for good now.
Yeah, because, I mean, they're useless in his deck.
Heads up means he's practiced. He's been to this situation before. It wasn't like he had to think about, like, oh, can I do this? He knew this is exactly what he can do in this situation. And then in phase, he did not forget about Magnum, it looks like, and that Druid Worm.
An impressive field for Dominic.
I'd say. It's pretty solid. A lot stronger than a lot of the CG tier 1 boards we've been seeing so far.
Yeah, but Robin does get Chaos Dragon Legionnaire with the effect of his Magnum HUD. It's really nice being able to get any high-level dragon and not just the Bestial cards.
Yeah, when I first read the Magnum, I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be great in Dragon Link.
Yeah, it's particularly powerful in there. And Chaos Dragon Legionnaire is just an incredible card.
It's in Duel Links even, right? I remember it came in Duel Links a long time ago. And
it's Duel Links. They added the alternate art to Duel Links. So it's been in Duel Links for a long time, and it's been a powerful card.
I remember, yeah, it's one of those cards. The first time I read it, I was like, wow, like this is it's insane. It just does so much.
It was actually played in Thunder Dragons in Duel Links, so the deck was not so different to this.
And TCG.
Yes.
It was played in Dragon Link even leading up to this point for so many years. And the Starleaf safe for Chaos Dragon Legionnaire. Oh, I love it. You see that talking about Duel Links. Duel Links is on the 43rd main box, Braver Victory. Make sure you go check out Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Yu-Gi-Oh! Cross Duels, also a new mobile game you want to check out if you want to find other ways to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
So, main phase?
Did Couch just use the Ishizu cards to return the monsters to Robin's deck so he couldn't summon Legionnaire?
That might have been the case.
I think that's what we were talking through.
I was talking about how good Legionnaire is, while
Yeah.
meanwhile Couch is like, I know how good Legionnaire is. I'm going to make sure you can't summon this card.
I think that's exactly what happened. But Robin may be able to very quickly fill his graveyard back up with Dark and Light monsters, starting with Lubellion.
Yeah, Robin is also 7-0. He's probably faced down boards like this going up to this so far and knows the way to deal.
Yeah, and the deck Robin is using is a very difficult deck to play.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, so it requires a high level of skill, which he's proven to possess based on his 7-0 record.
It's going to start with Allure of Darkness.
Dominic is thinking pretty hard about that.
I mean, assuming he has like maybe Tearlaman's Crime, trying to decide if he wants to negate it.
Maybe? I can't imagine he would negate it with Baron.
I mean, if I were to see an Allure in the Beast of the Lebellion, or he saw the Legionnaire, right? So he kind of knows it's a dragon strategy. But I would definitely think it's like more of like a branded.
Yeah, I mean, he saw a lot of cards, actually. He saw Dragon Ravine in the graveyard.
Dragon Ravine is a pretty dead giveaway. Looks like he's going to banish Thunder Dragon Roar from the hand with Allure. It's going to trigger Thunder Dragon Roar's effect.
So now he gets to special summon a Thunder from his deck.
I forgot how the Duel Links, I keep seeing the Duel Links thing pop up on the ticker, but they were quite the force in Duel Links as well, the Thunder Dragon cards, right?
And it played a lot like this. It used Thunder Dragon Dark, Thunder Dragon Roar, and Thunder Dragon Hawks. Pretty much.
And no Colossus, right? The same.
No, there was no Colossus,
Same
no
like
Titan.
TCG.
Yeah.
Oh, no Titan even, though.
Yeah, no Titan.
I guess that might be a little too strong for Duel Links.
Yeah. So it was, it's really just those three monsters and continuously using their effects each turn and building up the graveyard for Chaos Dragon Legionnaire as pretty much a finisher.
It sounds like Robin's strategy here today.
Yeah. And maybe Dominic knew that Robin was using Thunder Dragons, because I think the only way you would consider negating the Allure of Darkness is if you were concerned by the effect of the monster he'd banish.
Yep.
With the Allure.
I mean, even with this, if it was something like Brandy, also Despian Tragedy is a good one to banish off Allure of Darkness.
That's true too.
But I think seeing the Legionnaire really was a dead giveaway, though. Like, you're not going to play Legionnaire unless you're playing a ton of dragons, probably.
And the Dragon Ravine.
Yeah, the Ravine's huge.
The Ravine in the graveyard, I think, is a big one.
So it looks like Robin is trying to activate Saronir to banish Kictalis from the graveyard.
That gives him 2 level 6 monsters.
Yep. And since Robin is using like Beast of Lubellion stuff, Saronir is a lot stronger since he can send down Lubellion, but he already has Lubellion in the graveyard, so he's going to summon Lubellion from the graveyard by tributing a dragon.
This was turning well.
And then on summon,
That doesn't activate.
This one activates, yeah.
I can't see what card that is.
It's a Bestial, right?
Is it Darkest Diabolos?
Oh.
No, it is Darkest
It
Diabolos.
is.
I couldn't
It's not
see
a Bestial,
the
yeah.
shadow.
It's like a shadow. It's because he's emerging from the darkness.
He's the Darkest Diabolos.
Love that.
That's the cool thing about playing like a strategy like this, like, you know, a Dragon Link, Chaos, Dragon strategy is like, you know, everyone is super prepared for this Yugioh Tearlaman deck. Maybe they're not as prepared for a deck that just can stick a bunch of big monsters on the board and attack over all the guys you've filled up. Because the battle phase is the best way to deal with huge boards if you have strong enough monsters to go over.
It's true.
This is all through Abyss Dweller as well.
Yeah, most monsters can be destroyed in battle that are currently used in the metagame.
Got to get bigger than 3,000 for the most part, but if you have get something stronger than that, then you might be ready for business. But it looks like, so he's going to use Elf to bring back Diviner Peril, does include Natis in the extra deck, so he's able to use Diviner as a trap to send down Natis and just destroy the Beast of Lubellion right away. Really cool. A lot of times we see Diviner in the Yugioh deck, but we don't see them using Natis. They're just using it to send the fairies from their main deck to the graveyard because the extra deck space is so tight. But I really like being able to use Natis, and yeah, the combination with Sprite Elf here, really, really cool. So it looks like he tried to go to battle and attack, and that was met by a Forbidden Droplet, having the Darkest Diabolos attack, so it's going to be destroyed and sent to the graveyard.
Darkest Diabolos, although it cannot be targeted by card effects, will be hit by the Forbidding Droplet, which does not target. I haven't seen as much Forbidding Droplet recently, as people are sort of streamlining their decks for the main strategy and cutting tech. But it is a very effective card for dealing with pretty much anything that may come up. Like, he probably didn't imagine he'd be using it against Darkest Diablos, but here it was.
In the battle phase, yeah.
In the battle phase.
The versatility of the card is fantastic. And then imagine, like, he's probably using it because he's like, well, what beats my deck? Because this is, if I'm playing the best deck in the room, which is what you're probably going to think when you're going into a tournament, what can beat my deck? I'm probably going to use that card. You see this board with Dweller, like Baron? One of the only ways to stop this is something with, like, Forbidden Droplet, discard a monster, or two. You're able to stop multiple things at once. While Dark Ruler, you wouldn't be able to do it right away because the Dweller would have already resolved. So definitely probably why we're seeing Droplet go a little up in popularity recently. But it's definitely still like a heavy investment because you're going to be facing down these 5 monster boards. You can only send so many cards from your hand to the graveyard.
That's true.
But it looks like Merly is being banished to summon Druisworm. And the Paralino is going to destroy Thunder Dragon Hawk. Yep, and Robin has seen enough. He cannot fight through this board that Couch made going first. Like, that was just, yeah, a great board. Fantastic. Really showing the power of the Yugioh Tillerman deck when used, you know, optimally with a solid game plan in mind.
Yeah, I don't even think we saw him use the effect of Baron de Fleur, did he?
Well, I don't think he had to force it out. Yeah, he had the negate still. He had his face down cards. He had so much still online. You know, Robin did the best he could, but just wasn't quite enough there.
Yeah, Baron de Fleur's effect is one of the ones that you want to hold on to for as long as you can, because it can threaten anything. Spells, traps, monster effects, all of them are vulnerable to Baron de Fleur.
Yeah, it's such a good card. Definitely a great, awesome one out of the legendary duelist Synchro Storm. But now they're going into the sides. Robin's going to be able to go side going first. Maybe have something like... There's really nothing you can really put in that's really going to completely shut down this Yugioh deck right away when you go first. You're more so going to have cards for going second, more than likely. Imagine just trying to get your board, get your strategy online is the main goal when you go first here for Robin. But Couch, on the other hand, is probably going to have plenty of cards he's going to be putting in to deal with this, but we'll have to wait and see. I know Triple Tactics Talent is a big one that I thought was going to be popular going in this weekend, but we haven't seen any resolve. I don't think any in our feature matches, but I know there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, same. I was also expecting it to be a big one because obviously there are going to be... Basically, your opponent's going to be using monster effects on all of your turns.
You're almost guaranteed to resolve it, right?
Yeah, and it has such incredible effects. 3 different effects to choose from. Change of Heart, Forceful Sentry,
and
Pot of Greed.
That's what Pot of Greed does. It does what Triple Tactics Talents does. Okay.
But yeah, all I've seen Triple Tactics Talent do so far is get sent from the deck to the graveyard, and that could explain why some duelists are choosing not to use it. It's just not a card that has an effect if it's sent from the deck to the graveyard.
That makes sense.
And in the course of a duel, if you're using Tearlaments, you're probably sending more cards from your deck to your graveyard than you are drawing cards.
That is very true.
But by a large margin. So
we've seen 15 milled in one turn, if not more. Because I mean, if you resolve Kelbeck and Yugioh, that's 10, and then Kiktalis, that's 15. You have Scream, that's another 2, that's 18. If you do Sharon, that's 21. You do Merrily, that's another 2, that's 24 cards milled, potentially on your first turn.
29 if you have Exchange of Spirit in the graveyard.
Oh, 34 actually, if you add for both the milling effects. They both get the extra 5. 30. Yeah, that's your whole deck. You drew 5 cards, but you still got 1 left to work with. It's really cool to see it next, but no, obviously using all those effects doesn't really come up too much, and you're just giving up all your resources when you're dumping your whole deck turn 1.
I don't think you want to do that, unless you're going to flip Exchange of Spirit.
I want to see that. I want to see someone hard draw Exchange of Spirit and just flip it, and then we flip the decks in the graveyards. That would be so cool. I mean, before these cards came out, Exchange of Spirit was always the Machiora deck, right? There was a long time ago, you could go first and you'd be able to Machiora, use traps from your hand in your first turn, or Cathedral Nobles is another card that was used in that strategy. where you get your opponent has no cards and you change the sphere. You like change something to banish all the graveyards and then flip it. I don't remember, but it was definitely part of an FTK many years ago.
For duelists as old as me, who may remember Exchange of Spirit, it has since been errated.
Oh, they did errata it.
So back then you could use it even if your opponent had no cards in the graveyard.
That's
so then
what
they
it
had
was.
no deck. Now you can
Both
only use it
players.
if both players have at least 15 cards in the graveyard. Which is not to say your opponent will have at least a 15-card deck, because if you chain the effects of the Yugioh monsters, you can then return cards to their deck, but you've already met the activation requirement, so they'll have a smaller deck. So the card has changed, so it's no longer that
Scary
FTK
card.
instant win possibility.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I knew there had to be some way to get the cards out of the opponent's graveyard, but I forgot. Yeah, it just got errata. They didn't have to have cards in their graveyard. It was that good. But Robin is going to be starting game number 2 here with Allure of Darkness, banishing Thunder Dragon Roar. So same play he did in the last game, with a lot less opposition here from Dominic's side of the board.
That Machiera FTK deck wasn't one that I played a lot, but it was definitely one I had used and had built back in the day.
Oh, okay. So you know it well. So Thunder Dragon Roar is going to summon Thunder Dragon Roar from the deck to the field.
Yeah, Lord Darkness for Thunder Dragon Roar is really good.
And then I was talking about Starly Seyfert. If you're using Levineer, you probably have Seyfert somewhere in the deck as well. And he's going to send the Seyfert to search for Black Dragon Collapse Serpent. Doing some calculations. Looks like he ran the numbers, and he is going to use Thunder Dragon Hawk's effect to discard it to special summon his banished Thunder Dragon Roar.
So now he's used the effect of Roar and Hawk. You can only use one effect of each monster per turn. Each of the Thunder Dragon monsters. Oh, and he's going for Beatrice.
Nope, but now he's going to special summon the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent from the hand and link it away for a Striker Dragon, I'd imagine. This is the classic Dragon Link combo we've seen.
He used Striker.
No.
He's using the Collapse Serpents.
Yeah, no boot sector launch. Not that kind of Dragon Link, so you're not going to be seeing any of the rocket monsters, but definitely still a good combo. Banishes the Collapse Serpent to summon Wyver Burster.
Link 2 coming up next.
You still going to Romulus? Yep. You did see that Dragon Ravine in game 1, so Dragoonie Knight Romulus is going to come down, so he's able to add a Dragon Ravine. It's a free card, why not?
No one says no to a free card. I'm curious to see what he's going to use that Beatrice for. Which card he will choose to send to the graveyard.
Yeah, we're going to be interested. He's holding off on using it for now, so I'll just wait and see what he's holding for. So he's going to use Dragon Ravine to discard Bestial Magnamut.
Is that multiple copies of Rainbow Bridge of Salvation in Couch's hand?
I'd hope not. That'd be really tough for him. So he can use... Oh, I see what he uses Dragon Ravine for. Okay, so he can discard a card to send Soraneer, and then Soraneer lets him send a dragon, or Bestial, and he's going to send the Bestial Lubellion. So now he can summon the Bestial Lubellion back from his graveyard. Oh, he's going to use the Seyfert to add Lubellion to his hand. So now he can use the Lubellion to discard to add a Bestial monster and still summon it back from the graveyard. Cool combo. Looks like first he's going to summon Magnamut, banishing the Magnamut from the graveyard.
He'll get a dragon in the end phase thanks to its effect. He'll use the Lubellion's effect, so now he gets to add another Bestial monster to his hand from his deck.
Now he's going to summon the Lubellion by tributing the Magnamut.
He'll use Lubellion's effect.
Activates Branded Regain from the deck. I love Branded Regain, a really cool one. If a lighter dark monster is banished, you can return it to the bottom of the deck and draw a card from either player. And if your opponent summons a monster, you can spell summon back a bestial from your graveyard to the field. So he's going to use Beatrice to send down Medora. Pretty cool. I like that. You have the Medora in the graveyard, so you'll be able to quick effect banish to shuffle back 3 cards from either player's graveyard.
That's a really strong choice against a tier limit deck.
I was really hesitant.
Going to link summon Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Seers.
At some point, yeah. They're pretty good apparently. Side one, Indian face magnet effect.
So the end phase is going to add Bestial Saurnier from the deck to the hand.
I think he already has Juris Worm, so makes sense. So he has a decent amount of disruption.
You know, the second one.
Did he use the Branded Regain?
I'm not sure.
I didn't see him draw for the Branded Regain, but maybe he did before he added. I'd be shocked if he didn't.
Yes.
Now Couch is finally going to get to play here in game 2, and he's going to start with Tailorman Sharon.
That's fine. Yeah.
Effect resolves. Going to discard Keldo. That's going to send 3 cards to the graveyard. Gravekeeper's Trap, Diviner the Herald, and Sharon.
Oh wow.
Oh, shows him his hand. 3 copies of Rainbow Bridge and the turtle.
That is not good. That is extremely unfortunate from Dominic Couch.
Yeah, maybe letting his opponent play, even though he had pretty much no chance. He had a small chance, even with just the Sharon. But you wanted to see what his opponent's deck is actually trying to do. He saw some kind of funky cards, maybe, so give him a chance to play. But yeah, you're not going to go anywhere with that hand, you know.
No.
I've drawn 3 Reborn Tengus before in my day, but that's not even as bad as that. that's way worse. That's a Giant Soldier of Stone. Worse than Giant Soldier of Stone, probably. And then, yeah, just 3 useless cards you can't activate. That's the downside. Like, you play these. You talked about this versus Triple Tactics Talent, right? You get the value when you mill them to the graveyard, but when you draw them, no value. Triple Tactics Talent, you draw them, you get the value. But here, there's a risk versus reward.
Yeah, like I said before, Couch is more likely to send those cards from the deck to the graveyard than he was to draw them in his opening hand. But there you have it.
Especially draw 3. But that's a 4.
Four.
Yeah, that's just not unlikely, but unfortunate there for Couch. He's probably going to focus, just maybe shuffle, give him an extra good couple shuffles to his deck before this round. Definitely unfortunate. But if you are going to draw like that, when you're already won game 1 and you're going second in game 2 anyways, that's the time I would pick to draw like that unfortunate, hand. Because when you're going second in game 2, it's a tough one to win anyway.
Yeah, so we now know, obviously, that Dominic uses 3 copies of Rainbow Bridge of Salvation.
Definitely didn't pay off here.
Yeah, what do you think of using a full 3 copies, even though it's a once per duel effect?
I mean, we just saw the downside, drawing all 3 sucks. Because when you only play 1, yeah, you're less likely to mill it, but you're also infinitely less likely to draw it.
You'll never draw multiples.
never draw 3. But I think it's reasonable. I think the value of having Paralino and versus not having it is worth playing it, because you want to see Paralino every game. If your opponent has it and you don't, you're behind. He also might play other field spells that he can add with it too, and that might be part of his strategy. We'll have to see. It looks like our duelists are shuffled up here, and they're about to get ready here for the last and final game of our round 8 feature match. But yeah, it's tough, especially when you make the decision to play 3. It's probably not a popular decision, and you draw all 3. Rough. But game number 3 is underway. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. I imagine Couch is going to go first. He's starting things off with Instant Fusion.
I couldn't tell what that was.
I could tell just because how fast he activated it and grabbed his extra deck.
Yeah. Being able to Instant Fusion Kitkilos out is so incredible.
I like the power one of. There's always been a power one of Rhoda, just a Rhoda for Stratos. And the Gladiator Beast mirror match even back then was so strong. Oh man, I love the power one ofs. This is much stronger than that, though. Don't get me wrong.
Our age is showing again.
I gotta stop doing that. Mike, you just bring out the child, because I remember us playing back, so many years ago. I'm like, oh, Mike knows this. I'm gonna bring this up. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Speaking of our age, it is your birthday today. I want to say happy birthday, Mike.
Thank you, Billy.
I'm excited to be here with you on your birthday, enjoying this beautiful YCS.
33 today.
33 years young. Congratulations, Mike. Happy to be here with you, getting to commentate some awesome matches. Now it looks like Couch off to an incredible start. This is the way I like to open. Mudora, discard Keldo. It's fantastic. You're going to get that Gravekeeper's Trap online immediately. You have 2 effects that you're able to banish quick effect to shuffle back cards. from the graveyard, just so strong. I like to start with it. I like to go second with it. You can also just reverse it and summon the Keldo, discarding the Medora, and get to add a different monster as well.
Yeah, Gravekeeper's Trap is a great card, but I've noticed a lot of duelists have cut it from their deck. They just don't use it, which I think really weakens what you can do.
It does. It's not great to drop it. Wow, what a mill. Okay, this is going to be a lot. And there's a Medora. He hits every TR limit name. Yeah, let's take a minute. He's going to be, so what, now his goal? Maybe find a way to make a Beatrice or something and make sure to send Exchange of the Spirit to the graveyard. Find a way to get Exchange of the Spirit in the graveyard to get this Gravekeeper's Trap fully functional. I'm already wondering what card he's going to call during Robin's draw phase. He knows he's on Chaos Dragons. Maybe Allure of Darkness. He's activated Allure twice in the first 2 games. Could call whatever card he thinks. That's the cool part of Gravekeeper's Trap.
Yeah. He probably thinks Allure of Darkness is a 3-0, so that's probably the highest odds as well.
Oh, you see the 2 shifters on the top 5 cards,
Ouch.
but not in that hand. Oh, man. The shifter would have changed everything.
It's so painful when it's card number 6. Card number
talking
6
about that
of the deck,
earlier,
yes.
right?
There it is again, the D shifter. Ooh, you draw it when it's no longer helpful. At least he doesn't have to draw it.
So
when
Couch,
it's no longer helpful.
yeah, Couch resolving his chain links. That was a Kelbeck resolving, and now he's resolving one of his fusion effects. Wasn't able to catch one, but he's spinning back Kiktalos and the TR element that he's fusing for, and it is going to be Rukalos. Let's see what else he has on the chain to resolve. Do you think it's Sharon? Sharon puts back Hovness. Going to summon that Garura. Maybe he's thinking about Baron de Fleur down the line, or just a Sprite Elf wants to draw a card. Or it's the level 6 he needs to make Beatrice to send down Exchange of the Spirit. So many different options. Lots of different paths you can take with this deck, which is really, the more options you have, the better the deck sometimes.
Yeah.
As long as the options lead to somewhere good.
There's no shortage of options when you're using tier elements. Think of all the fusion combinations. But that's what makes it one of the more difficult decks to play.
Yes. Because you make one mistake, like you can kind of come back from it, but it can really cost you everything in like a high skilled matchup.
Yeah, you play this deck, and if you lose, you can often think back to what you could have done differently and find something that would have won you the game. And that's the sign of a very skill-intensive deck.
Certainly is. It reminds me a lot of Necros, even down to like the hard counters. Instead of Shifter, we had Mistake back in the day. The Gravekeeper's Trap is kind of Jin Lock. It's very similar to where you go second. The Jin Lock is basically Abyss Dweller in the mirror match. A lot of like correlations, but we'll have to see. I'm just making sure that nobody knows what's happening here. A lot of cards got milled all at once.
Okay, that is fine.
All right, yeah, make sure they're on the same page.
Okay, yeah,
I guess just making sure he can summon that Kit Kalos.
that's fine.
That's what it looks like.
That's actually good to know.
Yeah, oh, he's wondering what happened, because, yeah, he put the Kiktalos back when he summoned the Rukalos, so then he summoned Kiktalos again. Oh, they're wondering, because it would be 4, they see the 4 fusions. That's what they're a little concerned about, because there's been 4 fusion summons, but the first one was instant fusion, so it's all good.
Yeah.
That's probably exactly what that conversation was.
So Kit Kalos and Garuda are going to be used.
Dark.
Dark indeed,
And he's going to draw a card.
thanks to the effect of Garuda.
Now Dark's effects can be activated.
We'll take a Dimension Shifter, why not?
Why not?
It's probably not staying on the field too long anyway, right?
I'd imagine so. So now he's looking at the Merly, eyeing Descent to the Graveyard. Probably means he's going to be making a Link 2 for Sprite Elf or Sprite Sprint here.
Yeah, I'm expecting an Elf, but has he used Merly's effect?
Yeah, he's used all their
Okay,
effects.
so
Yeah.
Sprint is not particularly useful then.
It looks like it is going to be Elf.
We'll use the Elf's effect immediately to bring out Diviner of the Herald.
You said we hadn't seen it too much, but
Yeah.
Kyle saying it's so cool because you're going to mill the Diviner just by happenstance. Like, it's just going to happen.
Yeah, and it's great how he can just use the Diviner to load up his graveyard with a useful card that can interact with the opponent. And give it the necessary number of levels so that he can synchro summon Baron de Fleur.
It looks like he's going to go ahead and mill 5. Probably, he doesn't have any more tier names he can use, but he's probably trying to put Mudora's Keldos in his graveyard to try and cover his bases, but this might backfire on him. No, Robin doesn't hit anything useful of note. Nothing that does anything really in the graveyard.
No.
Like, once again, he loses his Branded Beast. You want Branded Beast to be the one in your deck because you want to activate that with Lubellion, because then Branded Beast can activate the Branded Regain from your graveyard. So you can use Beastal Star in here to send Branded Regain to your graveyard. When you summon Lubellion, you get the Branded Beast, and the Branded Beast gets you Branded Regain. So you get both of those continuous spells, but now that you mill the Beast, that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, so sending 5 cards to Robin's graveyard definitely hurt him more than it helped him there. I don't know if he got a bunch of Darks and Lights for a potential Levianeer, but we'll find out. Baron de Fleur is good, but something to be mindful of is the fact that, and this is an old Duel Links trick, if you banish Thunder Dragon monsters and summon Levianeer, you can chain block.
Oh, so you won't be able to directly negate the Levianeer's destruction effect?
Right.
Imagine you'd have to go for the destruction effect at this point. Getting card out of the hand, probably not the greatest. That was the part that always got me about Levianeer. I was like, wait, you can just take a card out of your opponent's hand? That's incredible.
Just one of 3 things it can do.
Yeah, the board breaking ability of the card is definitely where it's shined more so.
Yeah, you don't often see the 3 lights banished, especially summon a monster from the graveyard, but I've seen
Rarely.
it come up.
Yeah, back in the Thunder Dragon days, definitely came up.
And sometimes you just drop it to attack for 3,000 and win.
It's also a level 8, rank 8.
That's true too. Really has a lot going for it.
So it looks like Couch is resolving Medora and Keldo here, so he's using Keldo to shuffle back. Is he putting the Branded Beast? Oh, so he's valuing Robin having the chance to draw Banded Beast over him just putting back a resource in his deck that he can get for free, which I can kind of respect.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he's just giving him another card that'd be a bad draw potentially. Because he doesn't think he'll ever get to that point where he's going to be able to activate the Branded Beast from the deck. Or he could assume that Robin is playing multiple copies of Branded Beast, so it doesn't really matter. Because a lot of players do play 2 Branded Beasts. But when you saw the Branded Regain from Game 2, I might assume he did. Did he draw it?
He drew Lore of Darkness, but I don't know what Dominic Couch called.
You remember I called a Lure of
Yeah,
Darkness
no, we
thing?
were discussing how it's probably a good call.
I don't think he called anything. He hadn't shuffled his hand. It is still the top card of his deck.
Did he? Do you know what Dominic said?
He didn't get the guy. Robin drew too fast, so he didn't get a chance to call it. But I don't think he shuffled his hand.
I'm not saying he did anything on purpose or why would I not be
I don't know that it has an effect on offense, honestly. I didn't know that. Like, it just went, yeah.
like in the stream see what card you drew or whatever?
Just taking a minute to see what they can do, how they can rectify the situation with the judges.
Information on the card you drew.
Yeah, so Robin's saying he didn't know that it had a draw phase effect. So, I mean, obviously when your opponent ends their turn, the first thing you do is draw a card.
Yeah.
It's unnatural to wait for a beginning of the draw phase effect. But in this particular situation, because of Gravekeeper's Trap, Dominic does get that opportunity to predict the draw.
Yeah, and he didn't shuffle his hand, so it is that top card on his hand. So if he wants to call and just reveal that top card, easy solution to the situation.
I wish I had heard what card he named.
He didn't get a chance to name anything yet.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think he's actually declared a card name, because they're just trying to figure out if he can declare the card name since the card was already drawn. But I am 99.9% sure Robin didn't shuffle his hand. You saw that it was the Allure of Darkness that he drew, right?
Yes, I'm fairly confident it was an Allure of Darkness.
Yeah, and it's sitting there on top of his hand, I believe.
He said Allure of Darkness. It is gone.
I mean, that's the call. That's the call. What is the first card he activated in both games? It is Allure of Darkness.
It's a 3-up for the deck with a high impact.
All right.
Called it. Literally called it. Not me, him. Everyone called it. Yeah.
You don't expect that out of Gravekeeper's Trap, but it is really nice when it happens.
I wanted to see it happen. It's nice for Couch. Feels terrible for Robin.
Well, yeah. You lost one of your best cards on a very big long shot. But Robin has to press on. He's going to use Chaos Space.
Just a little validation I can get from Cassie feels good. It shows that Couch knows what he's doing. Like,
Yeah.
well, you have to call the 3 of that you've seen every single game. But yeah, it looks like he's going to.
So he used Baron de Fleur to negate the Chaos Space, then uses the Gravekeeper's Trap to discard Yugioh.
To add Cal back.
Yep.
Now both players are going to mill 5. Magnumite, Solar, Chaos Space, Chaos Dragon, keep King of Armageddon, and Solar. Nothing useful here for Robin. I didn't see Couch's mill.
Nope. Only useful if he has Levianeers in his hand.
Looks like he milled a Merly and a Hovness. He's going to use Hovness effect here.
If Couch could just get Exchange of Spirit in his graveyard, then he'll have the Necro Valley effect of the Gravekeeper's Trap too.
That could be huge.
This Gravekeeper's Trap has been incredible for him.
It has a Pharaoh's Rare, I believe, out of Magnificent Mavens.
You know, I haven't seen that.
It looks really nice, yeah. I like how Gravekeeper's Trap has, it looks like actually a Shizu's on the card. I mean, it's a Gravekeeper,
Yes.
but it looks like her. But
Yes, I am a big fan of that. It's rare that you see the characters from the show on the card.
I mean, and it's her, like, her Millennium Necklace. You predict the future. The card does what she's supposed to do. I love it.
Yes, and she is a Tomb Keeper.
Couch probably has, like, where is his necklace? I know he has one somewhere.
How else could he have predicted that Robin would draw a Law of Darkness?
Yep. I know Robin probably wants to tell Couch, he's like, can you only win only if I lose? Sometimes you just got to let Destiny choose. But not this time. No Destiny here for Robin. Couch says, my Destiny is going to be a YCS winner. He's trying to get there.
He's using Midora to send back more cards. Robin hasn't really done anything yet. He does have Levianeer in his hand.
We keep talking about it, and it is there, which is nice to see. We'll have to see if it's going to be enough. So Dragostapelia is going to put a Predaplant counter on that Batteryman Solar. His level is going to be turned down, and his effects are negated while that Dragostapelia is on the field.
So that's just going to stop him from kicking a light monster to the graveyard, and also going to stop him from summoning tokens if that opportunity would otherwise arise. And here comes the Levianeer.
Mixture, light and dark.
But he does have no Thunder Dragons in there, so he can't trigger their effects by banishing them.
And it's going to be met by Tearlament's Crime. Since he controls a Tearlament, he can send a monster from his hand to the graveyard and negate and destroy the Levianeer.
Oh, shuffles.
And shuffle it back into the deck. Robin is probably about close to just extending the hand. Yeah, fist bump and it's over. Couch. Yeah, Couch dominates that game number 3. Gravekeeper's Trap. We saw, he knows what he's doing. Baron de Fleur touching down. You said you hadn't seen Baron too much. Well, it's sitting here undefeated. There's a good reason. We're probably going to see a lot more of it going on throughout the weekend. But what a match. Yeah, the Gravekeeper's Trap. We were talking about it. It has to be a Lure of Darkness, right? There's no other option. You think about it. Just use logic. The first card he activated was Allure in game 1. First card he activated game 2, Allure. Chances are gonna hit it there for game number 3, but definitely cool to see Couch keeping his wits about him and know what's going on. A little sad to see the Thunder Dragons go down, but when you're still 7-0, 1 loss, we have 1 more round today, 2 more in the morning. X2, you're hoping your tiebreakers are probably good enough, but still in the tournament. We'll have to see how he does tomorrow. We'll be right back with an interview with our winner, so don't go anywhere.